Smokey Joe. How are
Chad
you?
Rainey.
Yeah,
How are you
good.
doing?
I'm good. Good to see you.
Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, appreciate you joining us here on the last day. This is just for those who aren't familiar. It's just going to be a new pilot program that we're trying, and we just want to reach out to our retirees before they head out the door and get to learn a little bit more about Smokey Joe Perusse, and his career, and maybe just some of the things that you learned along the way, and maybe part some words of wisdom to those that are coming in after you, and we'll just kind of see where the conversation takes us.
Right on. Good idea. Yeah.
So, obviously, there's Joe Perusse, who we know of in the fire service, but can you kind of give us just a brief rundown of who you were before you got in the fire service, what you did, kind of where you grew up?
Well, my parents separated when I was about 10, and we were dirt poor, moved all around Seattle, trying to find a place that we could afford and whatever, with 5 kids and no good income. So we hopped around Seattle a lot. My mom remarried and had a 6th child with my stepdad, who was a good influence on me when I was about 11. Moved to central Seattle, Capitol Hill.
Okay.
Went to Garfield High School. So I'm an inner city kid. I really liked growing up there. I was real good at math, science stuff in school. But I was a brainy guy at Garfield High School. I didn't want to stick out, So I learned they call that the tall poppy syndrome, where the farmers go to the tall poppies, make the rest of them look bad, so they lop off the heads of the tall poppies. So they call that a tall poppy syndrome.
I had not heard that phrase before.
Yeah, so
I like it.
So a lot of guys learned to lay low. So I partied hard and didn't study much, but I did well at high school, and didn't know what I wanted to do. But I had really good math, SATs, science skills. So went to Wazoo. Didn't have any study habits, and had good drinking habits. I was at Wazoo. So only lasted a year there. Was real depressed, homesick, so I left school. So I got to figure out what I want to do. Well, Capitol Hill, Seattle. There's a lot of Seattle fire, and I was boxing at the time, real athletic, healthy.
You were pretty good at boxing, right? I mean, that was.
Yeah, I had the skills. I didn't have the chin for it.
Oh, okay.
Probably. I mean, I would like to not. Didn't like sparring too much because I'd have a headache for a month.
Oh, wow.
And no matter how, anyone that's seen the picture of Joe Frazier after he beat up Ali, his face was like, anytime you box, no matter how bad you beat your opponent, you do get a punishment. So.
Okay.
But so whatever, I was in shape, big, but I was a year out of after a year of 2.5 GPA at Wazoo, and didn't know what I wanted to do. So I took a kind of a sabbatical year, and there's a fire right down the block, and I'm watching these big, strong firemen, and I'm thinking, what's going on in the house? I said, God, every time I see the firemen, I want to know whatever. It's like that's when it bit me right there. It just bit me. So
oh, wow.
I got to do that. So I applied for Seattle 3 years. Didn't even occur to me to apply anywhere else.
Okay.
That's the fire department, and I've always been in the middle of Seattle. So I applied real high on the written score. Not so good on the oral interviews, but I was always on the list. I made the list every time.
Oh, wow.
Like 60th. They did like a couple thousand. 60th, and then 20th, and then like 15th. But they still didn't hire me. And so I called up the person. I said, "What can I do?" And they said, "Well, a lot." I said, "What?" I mean, I've been pretty high. He said, "Well, a lot of people have experience." I said, "How do you?" He says, "Well, you can work for an ambulance company. You could be a volunteer fireman." So, I'll sign up for that. Well, we don't do that, but you'd have to move. So I moved to Kent.
Oh, wow.
Became a volunteer. Did that for about 2 years. Got on a few more lists. And that was, from the first time I made that decision at 18. I spent probably 5 years before
Mm.
I got in, but I was just set on it from that point.
So you were volunteering at Kent, and then did you get the phone call from Federal Way Fire? Is that?
Yeah, I was on a few lists at that time. I was like 9th on Everett. The year before, I was 2nd on Everett, and the guy that was number 1 joined the Army and said, take me off the list. I was number 1 on Everett's list actually for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
We didn't get hired because they didn't hire anyone in those 2 years. So I was 9th on Everett's list when I came here, and 13th on Seattle. I didn't even. So I got hired and moved into Auburn, a house in Auburn, when I got this job, and I didn't even give those other departments my forwarding address. So I didn't ever hear back from them. I
What?
just figured I'd happy years.
With you dying number 1 on Everett's list, what year do you think that was?
80. Well, I think I got 80, probably 84, 85.
Okay, because there was a big hiring boom, right, in like 79 to 83ish or so. Was this kind of after they'd already hired a whole bunch of people and kind of plateaued for a little bit, you think, or?
Yeah, probably.
Oh,
I
yeah.
started applying in 82 and got hired in 80.
Oh.
So actually I was a little older than 18, I guess, when I started doing that. It must have been 23 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Federal Way was the first department that you worked for and stayed there, right?
Right.
Okay. What year did you get hired in Federal Way?
86 September. So we hired 21 that year.
Oh, wow.
So a group of 10 and a group of 11.
All right. So here's the challenge. Can you remember all of them?
In my group?
Don't mean to put you on the spot, but that's a lot of
You
people.
know, it's funny, we all show up here at 8's for the first day.
Yeah.
And Captain Thorson he says, who can tell me everybody here's name? And I rattled them off. I went, wow. So, but nowadays, I saw Scott McLaughlin at the banquet. I was like,
You really had to think about it.
no, I had to ask.
Oh, wow.
And I did that twice to M.R. Lawson.
Oh, okay.
And I've known him for, 15 years.
Yeah.
Still, it's like, oh, who is that guy? But back then, yeah, I knew them all. I still know them all. Fred Gooden is the one that fell out of our group because he sprained his ankle, got rehired. You probably never met Fred Gooden.
No. Mm-mm.
Anderson. He was a character.
So those 21 people, all of them were Federal Way guys, or?
There was Federal Way hired.
All?
But it was 2 groups. There was a March group, Darren DeBoer, and that group, all that.
And then there was your group.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you remember the most out of that group?
Well, Proctor was my roommate at the academy.
Oh, Michael Proctor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been retired for a little bit.
Yeah. Myrna, Nevin, Crandall, Mal. Mal's a character. I like that kind of guy. It's just, you know what's on his mind. He doesn't filter things and tell you what he thinks. I always appreciate that. People think kind of gruff, but I always like that. You know, you always feel like you really know him.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said about somebody that speaks their heart and speaks their mind. And
yeah. I'm not like that. Like, be polite, Joe. Be polite.
Yeah. Right. So you had the academy. What was your first station assignment?
I was at 65s with newly promoted Lieutenant Kettenring.
Okay, Pat Kettenring.
I had first class firefighter John Ronald.
Oh, wow.
I had third class firefighter Clint Farmer, and then we had 4 probies. Doug Campbell and Eric Walker were 6 months ahead of us, the first class of 86. And in our class of 86, we had myself and, and my proctor.
Okay. Yes.
So it was a very green crew, and then, memory's not, but sometimes you'd even have 2 rookies on the A car. I'd have like me and Campbell. Campbell would be acting on the A car, even though we only had 7 or 8 months in.
Oh.
Back then it was like that.
Yeah, definitely different times
Yeah.
than today.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think you were at fives?
Then to ones, and back to twos, and then back to fives, and somebody looked it up, and I think it was like whatever. I've been there since 1999 or.
At Station 5?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That blew me away when I heard that. It's like, wow, because those first 6 or 7 years or whatever at twos, I thought I'm a career twos guy. So I loved it there, and seemed like, yeah, this is, but. Part of me, I still kind of think of myself as a twos guy from that. That's just like, but then, well, I'm basically a fives guy for a career. So I was there, like 19 years this stretch, and a couple years before that too. 21 of my 32 years.
At twos?
At fives.
Or at fives, sorry. Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. Do you remember who all was on your crew at twos?
Well, the one I said was, and then it moved around, changed
Right.
around, but basically,
Okay.
Kettering, Proctor, Mal Campbell, and Eric Walker.
Okay. So those guys were at
Ron-
twos.
Ron-
They weren't at
yeah,
fives.
Ronald and Farmer, yeah.
Okay. So were you always a line firefighter, or did you have some different assignments throughout your career? Did you step out into training or anything different like that, or?
No, never applied for any. I thought later in my career I might go into prevention, but I kind of found my path, which I'm not a great leader as far as I might be a smart guy, but I'm not I get to be smart by weighing all my options, and I ponder things for a long, long time, and that's not good in the right seat of a fire engine.
Okay.
You got to make a sane decision quickly, and the reason that I kind of, I could do, but, so I did take a lieutenant's test once. I was kind of following that path. I found out I came in 10th out of 21 people, I think, whatever. And I felt actually relieved that I probably wouldn't get promoted. But I was, Chief Poe talking to me, well, we really help us out if you'd act. So I acted for several years. I wasn't comfortable ever in the right seat.
Mm.
But I kind of figured what I got in the mapping project. That started, about 6 or 8 of us when we were twos, my first stint at twos. And it might have been my second stint, because I think it was like 1995 or 6. Chief Kettering, Chief Trackwell, well, Kettering was probably a lieutenant or captain, but we all went to, Mal and a few, Jeff Bellinghausen, several people went into AutoCAD class to do building plans. We had a few people before that, Palmer and I doing them on just hand drafted, but we went to a computer-aided drafting program at that time. And over the years, only Jeff and I stuck with it mostly. And then it ended up pretty much being just me, but I kind of felt like, added roadmaps later, I kind of feel like if I get good maps right in front of the driver that will quickly tell you where you're going, tell you what to know about the property, get all the information you need to know about the property right there at your fingertips. Hopefully it saves you 30 seconds of stopping and looking at the wall map. A good driver, I think, should know the first turn or two out of their station anyways.
Right.
Save 30 seconds there. You get to the whatever those apartments, 21st and 320th, where they're 400 feet long, and some of the entrances are around back, and you don't have to run around stairwell. Save another minute there.
Right.
I figured I could have a bigger positive influence on the department doing that, and just making good maps and getting people to the patient quicker. I also felt that this department is great I know other people that are really good at pre-plans or road maps or whatever in other departments, but they don't have the support. They don't have budget for software. They don't have the hours. This department says, well, we like what you do. You can work overtime, do it. And I figured, well, I make as much as a lieutenant. I'm leaving a legacy. I'm helping, serve the public better. So I kind of just said, no, you know what? That's not my path to go down the officer road. I just want to do that. That's what I do. So that's kind of a word of wisdom is, firefighters are supposed to be, whatever, mechanical and certain skills and tough macho, but there's all kinds. And some people understand all the tactics and the hoses and the whatever. And everyone's got to have a basic, but
right.
but there's also all kinds of other knowledge that can just be applied to be useful. And that's why they say you can't really get hired at 18 or 21 as a firefighter, because you don't have life experience, and they want people that understand how cars built, because then you know how to take a car apart, or how houses are built, because you know where the fire might try, whatever.
Right.
So there's the people that can look at that engine and say that's a 2011
Yeah.
Pierce such as whatever. I've never been like that, but
Me either.
and I admire that.
Yeah.
Because if I get a crew to the fire and they don't know the tactics I need the Kaler there to say, this is what's going on inside that building. I can see it from here because of that, the way the wind's sucking, whatever.
Yeah.
I admire the heck out of that, but it's not me. But that's just the main thing I want to say is sometimes you might not fit in the firefighter mold, but that doesn't mean you can't be real valuable to the department.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of truth to that, as far as there's definitely kind of that stereotypical picture of a firefighter and what they do, and I think and we've seen this in the public's eye for sure, that they really have no idea how expansive the fire department really is, and all the different things that we do, and how many people it takes to tap their skill sets to make those things happen. So especially you and the mapping program. I mean, you could take anybody off the street and try and throw them into the mapping program, and we're gonna be dumbfounded and not have any idea how to do it. But for you, it clicked, and you were able to pick it up and do some really amazing work with that.
Thank you.
And talking about those the different personalities and different people that make the fire department, throughout your career, was there one particular person, or maybe two or three, that were really just had a profound impact on you and kind of helped shape your career throughout those years? Or
well, I mean, quite a few. There's to me, inside, I'm not a really confident person. I'm easily shaken. So if I'm somebody that's I don't want to use a name, but let's say a certain medic or something that's always get your
right.
button, whatever. I freeze, or I'm always second guessing, and I can't. I don't. So guys like Bellinghausen, if I work with him, he expects Joe can handle that,
Mm-hmm.
or a good cell, somebody like that just makes you feel like that they trust you, and even if you goof up something that people goof up, but so I'd say like those two are two guys that definitely I would pick out, and there's tons of others,
Is it Jeff Bellinghausen though, and Gordy?
Yeah,
Goodsell?
Dragovich is great like that.
Okay,
a lot of people are like that. That's what I need. Different people, some like the whole training philosophy of it's got to be a stressful situation, because that's how for guys like me,
right.
If I go out there and play that like it's a game of football or basketball, competitive sports, fun, then I go out on the field and I go, yeah, we got this, we can be, you know what I mean? I don't need it to be stressful. I need it to be engaging and want to go down to eights and drill. So I'm not the kind of guy, and a lot of guys aren't. I hear, every time they say, we got drill today. you never hear something, big drill it, you know, you never hear that.
Right.
and our training division has gotten so much better that, but to me that's the way I kind of am and think is, I'm a snowflake. I do a lot better. Snowflake that can kick almost.
I was gonna say I don't think anybody in this department would call you a snowflake. That's for sure. But
but I don't do well around that atmosphere. So all the people, and there's a ton of them in this department that are just really good leaders of. I think it was good sell when and I'm not known as a good driver for sure. I never quite got that, but we had a house fire and we're going up a steep hill right by where Chief Plumley lives.
Okay.
If he still is there. And it was a manual shift, and so I took the corner and tried to upshift, and I missed a gear, and then I had to come to a complete stop on the hill.
Oh yeah.
Put back and get first and go up the hill, but whatever. Goodsell didn't say anything. I'm pretty sure it was Goodsell that got officer seat. And so I said, but you didn't say anything. He said, well, it's kind of unfortunate. I wish it didn't happen, but stuff happens. So guys like that, I just feel, there's enough stress in this job. You don't need the stress to be coming from your partner. So.
And I think along those lines too is that really guys want, and girls, they want to do a good job. They want to be proud of their work, and
Sure.
and I think a good officer knows that you're probably beating yourself up more on the inside than he could ever beat you up on the outside. With giving you some sort of
Right.
verbal lashing or anything like that. It's not gonna. You're already beating
Right.
yourself up enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So you've bounced around from 2s to 5s and had a couple different stints here and there, and obviously did the mapping system. But if you look back and just say like, this was my favorite time or my favorite assignment, your favorite stretch of years, where would that be, and who would be with you?
Well, I mean, I really liked the whole Kettering crew at 2s way back. It was the favorite, and probably because I was younger and we had, we just goofed off. There was the residence bunk room had a foosball table in there, so we'd go in there during lunch or break and play foosball, or we'd play Chuck Bay hockey at night. And I've really liked pretty much everyone I've worked with, but younger is funner too.
Definitely some.
When you're
some
not thinking, is it 10 o'clock yet? Can I go to bed? It's not. Back then it was. Those were really good days.
Yeah.
And I like a big house.
Yeah.
I kind of I'm not resent. I felt a lot isolated doing a project all by myself for all those years back, going back into the back room, and
Oh yeah.
it was very isolating. It was took a lot of the fun out of it. Because Kevin and Dan, my last crew that I was with, they were a lot of fun, a lot of fun. But,
Yeah, but you had a lot of work on your plate, and
yeah.
That's interesting. Looking back, so altogether, how many years did you put in, and when was your actual retirement date?
So September 15, 86 till July 1 of 18. So it's just 3 months short of 32 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Out of those 32 years, you obviously you learned a lot along the way. Some of those lessons are probably from being out on the fire ground or on the drill court, or just surviving in the fire station. Sounds like you had a lot of fun with some of your crews and stuff.
Sure.
But there's always those personalities where sometimes things don't click. If you look back in those 32 years, if there's anything that you could go back and you would probably do different? Have you thought about that? Would there be anything that you might?
Nothing really comes to mind. Huh? No.
Yes. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm certainly not that way. I look back at my short time already. It's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't have done it that way.
No, I mean, I don't know. I wonder if I got promoted off that lieutenant's list. I wonder if I would have regretted that or been glad for it. I kind of feel like now that I'm glad that I did not get promoted, because I wouldn't have gone down the road I would, and I really had kind of a unique career because I followed a different path. And I probably wouldn't have. I probably would have gone the same path. I don't think I would have excelled as an officer. I would have been a guy doing the job, filling a seat, but I wouldn't have made a mark. So. Yeah.
And then again, following kind of along the same lines of just lessons learned and all that, you've seen. Obviously, our department, we've had a huge changeover in the last few years, and hiring tens and tens of people. And I think I was talking to Chief Pennington the other day, and I think since Federal Way merged with Des Moines and became South King, that we've hired over 100 new firefighters, and that's, I mean, we're only 140, 150 some people. So that's a large changeover, right? We've lost a lot of knowledge and skills and experience. If you really could just sit down with either a group of brand new firefighters or even just me right now with those 32 years of service, what would you pass on to them and just say, hey, this is what it's like, this is what's important, and this is kind of what I think?
Well, let's see. So, if just what would I pass on to the next generation, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we need to have fun at our job and enjoy it, but we also need to serve the public. I mean, we need to earn our very nice paycheck. Taxes are tough on everyone, and we need to go out there and be proactive, be involved in the community, be involved in even going out on duty and whatever, somehow interact with the public more in positive manners, and really know our areas, really know our craft, really know our community well. So that to me is something, and really know your crew and their strengths and weaknesses, and encourage and help, whatever. But I think we can improve in a lot of cases in some of those areas. That sort of thing. And I did think of something I would have done differently.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
please. Sure.
Like I told you, when I was 18 or 20 and saw that fireman down my street and big strong, and I thought, and that's also a job I can keep in great shape. Well, there's the passion for the career in the fire service, and then when it comes time to quit, when I feel like, I've gone through one bottle and I feel like I just need to be sent back to quarters because I'm airball, I'm done, I get to that point late in my career and I have to retire. We went to the big, there's the 3 fires in one day, the big one in Auburn, then the apartments on 5th South, and the other one in Milton Edge, right on the border. I don't think we even send any rigs there. And we had a little shed fire between the Auburn one and the 5th Avenue South one. And I got to that, well, even on the way to the first one, we could see the big plume, and we see it's a big 2-story older, and I'm looking at the building like, if we go in there, I don't know if I'm coming out. I was going, man, I got to retire because I don't want someone else getting hurt trying to drag me out. You know. So what I would have done differently is one of the main reasons I wanted this job is keep in dang shape. I kind of pigeonholed myself into my project, stopped working out very much at work. Keep in shape. That's what I definitely would have done. I wouldn't have had to quit quite so early. Probably wouldn't have wanted to. But that kind of killed me. So that.
Yeah. And then, so obviously there's certain calls that are going to stick. Some that are obviously bad, but hopefully there's some that are good. Even big fires that went well or was a lot of fun just to be a part of. When you look back, is there anyone in particular that kind of sticks out, or anything that you're like, this was just, even though it was a big rip roaring fire and this and that, and it didn't go quite as well, it turned out pretty good, and in that kind of experience, or
there were some cool things. So I was a triage officer on that 41 car where there's this picture station.
The big famous one with the oh wow,
that was cool. It was very surreal. So we were 62s for some sort of class. I was in 64 with, I can't remember, I think we had a resident riding with us too, but we had Joe Suver, Joe Eliason, and Joe Perusse in the engine. And
the three jobs.
And I think we had a resident riding with us. Anyways, we're twos, there's a class, skies open up, big rain pour. We got called to MVA at southbound I-5 at about 3:30. So we go there, it's nothing, but there's no traffic coming. And then it got tapped out. We go, oh shoot, that's why there's no traffic, because the road's closed up, just less than a mile north of us on southbound I-5. So we actually went down to the turnaround, came around, got in there first. And I'm just going, is this real? Is this a dream? What the heck? Cars everywhere. What a bunch of carnage. So there's that. Some weird calls. We had a semi-truck on southbound I-5 right about where that first call was. Semi-truck rolled, so the bed of the trailer was down here and the cab was up on top.
Oh wow.
Sticking straight up, and the driver had a back injury up there. So we laddered the cab, had to ladder it, climb up in. Guy had a back injury. We put a cat on him, lifted him out, things like that.
You actually used the Kendrick extrication device.
Yeah,
it's funny. I was taught it in EMS school, but we've never used it except for on children, and even then we've probably only used it a handful of times since I've been hired.
I don't think there was any other way for that guy.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, a lot of weird stuff. The one we were twos in the water. There was rain pouring, and there was flooded streets everywhere. And we get along on a call out of twos, and the water's mid-wheel on the engine. Come back, and oh gosh, it's getting even deeper. Now it's getting even deeper, And before long, it was like I visualized in my mind the stop sign at the bottom of the ramp, that it was up to the bottom of the octagon.
At 62s?
62s.
Oh.
The basketball court across the street, the apartments, it was like only a few feet short of the backboard. The water was it was a lake there.
Wow.
So I go, we got to do something about this. So I go down, and all the other guys said, let's go see if we can do it. So we, just south of twos, there's a kind of little ravine by in front of the water district offices. And there was a curb, but then there was a big juniper hedge there, and it was all clogged up with leaves. So we started cutting that down, and it dropped, a good 1.5 feet. Then we took the curb apart there, dropped it another 6 inches, and we go, that helped a lot. So we're just thinking, okay, well, that's good. I guess there's not much else we can do. But then we hear, help me, help me. We're there, and the Pisher just breaks into a sprint, and I go right behind him, and there's a lady in the big pit in front of twos holding on to a log. And not wanting to walk in the flooded street, so she
Wow.
thought that was a hill instead of a pit. So she said, I'll just walk up on this hill, and she fell in. And she was holding on to a log with her head above water, help me up. So that was crazy. A lot of weird memories.
Jeez Louise. Any others? Probably too many.
Yeah, it never ends.
Right. Yeah. Well, and so you retired back in 2018.
Oh, I know the big story, but that's a long story.
The big whoa.
Well, the day County Juma, and I wrote an article. I just remembered that.
So which one?
Okay. So, I was acting at the time,
Okay.
and it survives, and just a regular slow night, right? So, 10 o'clock, I think it was Chief Cheney, whoever was bat chief, calls. Hey, Joe, we need you to bring a reserve rig over to Twos. Okay, no problem. So we get in, take the rig to Twos, and we're coming back from Twos on 312 by the Jack in the Box, and we see all these cop cars, code red, northbound on the highway. So we go, well, what's that all about? Whatever. We continue on, so we're over by Still Lake Park, and 62s and 4s get toned out for a T-bone MVA at 304 in the highway.
Okay.
And we go, well, we're right there, so 65s will jump that. So we get there, the gals in the passenger seat, so it was a stolen car they were pursuing.
Oh, okay.
Got T-boned at 304 in the highway. The gal's there, she had an obvious femur fracture, but she was doing okay, but the driver who took the direct hit, he was really struggling to breathe. He was like, no, he's as red as you can get. So we pulled the rapid extrication from the passenger so we could get to him, pull him out. Medics say, well, we need riders. We need 2 riders. So Juma and I said, well, okay, we'll go to Harborview. We get up there, I think we took them both in one medic rig, and that's why I took 2 drivers or something, I don't know. But we go up there, blood all over the rig. We watch him do some procedures on the guy died, I think. Clean up the rig, right? And now it's getting to be whatever, 12:30, 1 o'clock, whatever. So we go get back in the medic's rig at Harborview, start heading south, and we're about Tequila, right? And the call comes in for medic whoever 5 shooting at Foster Golf Course. And there was a big rap concert thing going on, and some gang activity, and somebody got popped. So, it comes on the radio, and all of a sudden, whoever was driving the medic rig, jumps that ramp over to the off ramp, goes down. We pull. He stopped at the bottom ramp. Says, "Is this thing secure?" Yes, it is. We pull in. Well, there's cops with assault rifles running all over.
Oh, wow.
And they go, holy and then somebody looks out the back window, they say, hey, there's firemen running with somebody on a gurney. And so they open the back door. What do you got? They say, well, he's got one in the head and one in the chest. And they say, throw him in here. So they throw the guy in. The 2 Tequila guys start trying to climb in there. And they say, we got guys, never mind, go away. So back to Harborview, right? Well, we get by Bowling Field on northbound 5. There's a Seattle fire truck, ladder truck, across the road, blocking the road. It's like, what the heck? And all these cars. So, and we're stopped, and the medics are getting on the radio. Hey, can Seattle move a rig so we can get this guy to well, boom, boom, boom. Someone's knocking on the medic rig. Hey, you got whatever, and why aren't you guys doing something? You guys get it. It's like, get us out of here, right?
So that was somebody like from the golf course that followed you, and was now trying to get access into the medic unit.
Yeah, make sure we were taking care of the guy who was hurt. So okay, so the Seattle whatever got communicated. Hey, we got to get these guys through. So that we went around, took this guy into the ER. We're in there in the procedure room, and they're cutting him open, and we're watching that. and by now it's getting to be 2 or 3. Well, whatever. We're going out to the ramp and cleaning the medic rig in between, whatever, and a big ball. So they closed Harborview down, and Harborview was surrounded by cops.
Okay. Because of
And
the gang-related.
Yeah, and a
activity.
bunch of people came up there,
Oh,
and
okay.
so there was this big skirmish. It looked like a giant rugby scrum, of all these got in a big fight, and the cops, went back and forth across Jefferson Street there. So it was a mess there. So then once we're out on the ramp and we see the cops, they're talking to a gal that's in looks like Starbucks clothes, right? She had a black apron and a green apron and black slacks and white dress shirt and all that. So he's talking to her about something, we don't know, whatever. So we clean up. Now it's like 4 in the morning, whatever, and one of the MSOs says, we should go get coffee somewhere. And so I said, well, there's really no place open except for the Starbucks in Burien. I know that's open 24. So, okay. So we go down all the way to Burien, get coffee, but it's only drive up, and we can't drive up in our big rigs, so we walk up. And this is kind of weird, but can we get coffee? Yeah, no, we're all ready. She says, oh, we're already having the weirdest night. Our other gal didn't show up because her brother got shot at the...
Oh, okay, that was the girl that...
Yeah.
What are the coincidences?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was weird. So anyways, we're back in the rig going back from there, and I'm going to Kevin. It's like, hey Kevin, tomorrow on the news in the morning, it's going to be stolen car chase ends up in a fatality wreck in Federal Way. Well, oh, yeah, I was there. Shooting at the golf course. Yeah, I was there. Northbound I-5 gets closed down for attack. Yeah, I was there. Harborview gets shut down overnight because of riot. Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
It's like they were all lead stories,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I
Back to back.
Yeah, I actually do remember that whole thing. I had no idea that you were a part of that. That's
Yeah, I wrote the little in our monthly newsletter. I wrote it up.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty significant day.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Gosh. I don't know what would have gone through my head in the back of that medic unit with somebody knocking on the door. I mean, were you worried that he was like another rival member trying to get in and finish the job, or?
He sounded more like he was like, "Why aren't you working on it?"
Okay.
Like, You got to get going. We got to get going. Yeah, we will if we can, but.
Because I think initially that's what it kind of came out as before we got the info was that like the members were like following up trying to finish the job, I guess. That was the initial rumor. You know how the rumors go, or maybe that was a different call. But
there might have been. I mean, there was tensions on the sidewalk at Harborview for sure.
Yeah,
I don't know.
crazy. Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm glad you remembered that one. that was a good day.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, that was probably the most interesting day of the bunch.
Yeah. So 32 years, and then you retired. You said 2018, and that was July. Did you say July 1st? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, July 1, 2018. But you're not really fully retired yet, right? You because of all the hard work that you've done with the mapping program and getting that set up, you got offered a part-time job to come in and do more mapping stuff for us, which I know the crews absolutely appreciate. So how often are you working now?
I work Tuesday, Thursday, and with all the remodels and office moving, Twos was supposed to be getting a big remodel, which is being, I guess, downscaled. So the plan was all of IT was going to go up to 67s in the interim. So at the same time, Chief Crossan got promoted. So we figured we were starting with the transition to 67s. I moved up to 67s, and then the whole process stopped. So Chief Crossan took my office at 2s, so now I work at 67s. No one else is on that administrative side. So basically I work from home unless there's reason to do do some teamwork with the rest of the team, or if I need to do some printing on the big printers or whatever. So I work Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 hours each.
Oh, okay.
It's fairly flexible.
Yeah.
If I got a project or meeting, or they, like there's ValleyCom tech meetings, I go to that once in a while. So that's on Wednesday. I just flex the time.
Nice.
Yeah.
So even though you're not, you've retired from the fire service side, but now you're doing the mapping thing. What do you miss the most about the fire service part? I mean, you still kind of have your foot in the door, so you can go over and pester the crews a little bit, but is there something that you miss the most?
Well, it's not going on calls. I really, I see the news and I go, oh, I'm glad I missed that one. I loved going on calls. You know what I mean when I say after the call.
Right.
It's like, yeah, that was cool. Not when you get to them. So that's another sign that it's getting close to retirement time, and you just going on the call. But I still enjoyed coming back from a good call and
Yeah.
say, oh, that was kind of cool, or yeah, we helped out or whatever. But yeah, the whole atmosphere of the station and the crews and hanging out, and yeah, I liked the whole flow of the day pretty much in the fire service. Roy Brewer shares this with me, that pretty much every night since I retired, and multiple times some nights, I at least have a dream of whatever. I come in and whatever, and Joe, can you help us take the 65s over to whatever? Somehow I end up on a fire, and then we end up jumping some calls, or I end up whatever. I called in for some other incident. Oh yeah, you got the what? I got the overtime, whatever, whatever. All these dreams, every shift, I somehow end up on a fire engine. I mean, every night I dream it.
Wow,
so it's kind of weird. And Roy Brewer does too. So I don't know.
Wow.
He says he doesn't still very often, but he said for years it's a nightly occurrence. So I kind of wonder if that's because we're still in the environment, and we can kind of. I want to find out if other retirees have the dream.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, and now Mitch wants us to do ride-alongs, so it's like, am I dreaming again? I'm not going to fall for it this time. This is just a dream. I'm going to end up on the dream. So, every time I have a dream, I know this can't be real. But now I'm like, well, I guess it can be real. I actually am going to end up on a fire engine again.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Well, Joe Perusse, 32 years of service. Thank you. I know we appreciate everything that you've done for the fire department, and certainly for the citizens. That mapping program, like you were talking about with the time frames and stuff, just saving, being able to save a little bit of time here and there. I don't think people really truly realize how much of a difference you made on our ability to get down to those 4 to 6 minute response times, and that's made a drastic outcome on patients' lives. Patients that you didn't even go on calls for.
Right, I don't even have to be on duty to have that. That's exactly what I felt
Yeah.
like. I don't even have to be here to make an impact.
Yeah, it's truly remarkable.
Thank you.
And we thank you for your years of service. We thank you for joining us here on the last day and spending some quality time with us and letting us pick your brain. Joe, it's been an honor.
Thank you, Fred.
Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right.